Hi, it's Dr. William, and these are the 8 fats that you should be eating after having a BBL. Okay, let's take a look at these 8 healthy fats that you should be eating after having a BBL. But before we get into that, there's 2 things you need to know. Number 1, you shouldn't really be taking diet advice of somebody like me. And number 2 is we have to understand the difference between a saturated fat and an unsaturated fat before we get into what are the good fats to eat after having a BBL. I'm not going to go through the whole thing like we did in chemistry class years ago, but this is just something just so that you at least understand what we're talking about. This is a molecule. This is a diagram of these little atoms. This is oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, and these are the bonds between them. These are how the little atoms stay together and form these substances. In a saturated fat, which is what we've drawn here, you see it's saturated. Saturated with what? It's saturated with these hydrogens. That's what makes a saturated fat. All the carbons are stuck with hydrogen, so it's saturated with hydrogen. The unsaturated fats are those fats that don't have as many hydrogens on them. So you can see there's actually a bond between these 2 carbons, and that way the carbons are stuck together and they can't bind any more hydrogens, so they can't be saturated with hydrogens. And so we call them unsaturated fats. If you want to think of it in general terms, the saturated fats are the unhealthy fats, and the unsaturated fats are the good fats. The saturated fats are typically going to be your meat, your dairy. Those are more of your saturated fats, and the unsaturated fats tend to come from plants and fish. It's important to understand also that if you look at unsaturated fats, there are monounsaturated, meaning they just have a few of these little bonds, or there's polyunsaturated, which are the best fats for you because they're the least saturated with hydrogen and they have more of those double bonds. Hey, sorry for the interruption, but I really have to tell you, if you like this video, you're gonna love, I'm gonna have a live event September 18th, September 19th, on YouTube Live. We're going to be talking about everything you need to know for a BBL. For more information, check the description. Now, enjoy the video. One other point I want to make with the saturated fats and the unsaturated fats. The saturated fats, those are the unhealthy ones. Those are the ones that are meat and dairy primarily. Those fats tend to be solid at room temperature. So if you think saturated, solid at room temperature, that's your butter. And if you think of a unsaturated, healthy fat, that's more like some safflower oil that's a liquid at room temperature. So solid at room temperature, not a very good fat. Liquid at room temperature, a good fat. That's general terms. Okay, let's dive right in. Let's look at these 8 healthy fats that you should be eating after your BBL. Number 1 is fish. Now, there's a difference between fish. So mackerel, tuna, salmon, trout, those types of fish have more of the polyunsaturated fats. You want to make sure your diet is composed of these healthy fats that you should be eating. So number 1 is the fish. Number 2, walnuts. Walnuts are a really good source of fat. Now, they're very high in calories. Just make sure when you're eating the walnuts, you're not eating a whole bag of the walnuts. You're just eating probably 10 or 12 walnuts at a time, and that will give you a good polyunsaturated fat. Number 3, flax seeds. So not a cereal that has some processed flaxseed in it, but I'm talking about the regular whole seeds. You can buy these in the store as a whole seed. They're very easy to get into your diet. You can sprinkle them on in a salad. You can sprinkle them on in yogurt. You can sprinkle them on cereal. They're really easy to get into the diet. They're highly caloric, so you don't need a lot. Just a tablespoon of these a day is gonna help you when you're trying to feed your fat. Number 4, any of the oils that are the good oils. So the safflower oils, the grapeseed oils, canola oil, corn oil, those are all made up of the polyunsaturated fats. Those are all very healthy oils that you could use. Again, you don't need a ton of them, 1 or 2 tablespoons a day. When you're adding it to your salad, that's easy. Or if you're cooking something with it, you can use it on your fish. You can use it to cook your fish. You can even apply it to your fish afterwards. Number 5, chia seeds. And chia seeds are, again, super easy to get into your diet because you just sprinkle them as an additive on any of your food, a tablespoon of that per day. Number 6, from Hawaii, macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are a super good source of having polyunsaturated fats. And again, we're not talking about eating the whole bag. We're not talking about eating like a ton of them, but just, a dozen, 10 or 12 of these a day is all that you need. Number 7, peanut butter. You really have to be careful with peanut butter though, because peanut butter comes in so many different ways. I'm not talking about the really good, tasty, sweet peanut butter that's really creamy and smooth and super processed. I'm talking about that type of peanut butter that you gotta stir because there's all the oil on top and it doesn't taste as good because it doesn't have as much sugar in it. But having a scoop of peanut butter on a sandwich, or even by itself, or adding it with a banana or something along those lines is going to be healthy. But make sure it's the good, not processed peanut butter. So regular peanut butter, you just grind. Some places you can even grind it yourself. And finally, the 8th healthy fat that you should be eating, and I think is very popular, a lot of people are already consuming it, that's avocado. And avocados, again, super easy to get into a diet because you can add it to avocado toast, you can put it on salads, you can eat it by itself, any way you want to have it, but it should be fresh and should be raw. Now, there is a couple of other things to know about what you should eat in general after having a BBL. One of the things is really what not to eat, and what not to eat, and this is in general good advice for anyone, are super processed carbohydrates. All of the really highly processed white breads, things that are very high in sugar, anything that is processed in general is not going to be good for you. In fact, these super processed carbohydrates, these highly refined carbohydrates, the type of bread that if you leave it in your house for 2 weeks and you go and you squeeze it and it's still super soft, yeah, that's terrible for you. And that bread is actually worse than eating these saturated fats. Now, one final thing, and I think this is really good advice. I didn't create this. I read it in a book a long time ago, and I wish I knew the author's name, otherwise I would give them credit. But they said that you should be eating something called the acronym G-BOMBs, which is every day you should eat a small amount of this. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Those should be incorporated into your diet every day, regardless of whether you're having a BBL or not. But if you consume those items every day, all of those have been shown to benefit your health. So that's it. Those are the 8 things you're going to eat after having a BBL, particularly starting at 3 weeks when you're going to be having the fluff fairy come, and you want to make sure you're having the adequate amount of fat. You're going to consume about 30 to 35% of your total calories per day during this period of time from fat. You can even raise that up to 40% of your total calories coming from fat during this period of time. And then after that happens, probably go back down to about a more healthy 25% fats. Any questions at all about that, please go ahead and leave a comment. I do read all the comments and I'm happy to answer any of the questions. If you have any video ideas for the future, or if you have any other suggestions or information or things that you've eaten and that you liked and you want to share with us, please do, by all means, leave a comment below with your helpful tip. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.